Less than 24 hours, Georgians will be under a shelter-in-place order.
McDonald, though, said he did not know the man was handcuffed and was trying to use his foot to pin him to the ground so he could be handcuffed.
If your friends, neighbors, or local organizations are not complying, report them to us.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to episode number something. Welcome to the Free Georgia Podcast. My name is Jake Green. Thank y'all for tuning in today. Apologies if the sound, if you can hear a little bit of music in the background. I'm in a co-working space, and there's really not much I can do about that. Let me zoom in on that camera a little bit. There we go. Yeah, it shouldn't come through too badly, but if it does, I sincerely apologize. There's only so much I can do at the moment. So, yeah, welcome back to the show. Today we have a guest, but before we get to that, head on over to lpgeorgia.com to learn more about the Libertarian Party of Georgia and what we're doing around the state to spread freedom and liberty. There's plenty of ways to get involved. You can go to the Get Involved tab. You can, one of my favorite things is the Liberty Watch. It's an email newsletter that tells you all of the legislation that is passing, currently being passed, or proposed in Georgia Congress. So you can go sign up for that. You can run for office. You can do blog submissions. You can register to vote, and you can get involved in the party. You can also take the world's smallest political quiz to see where you fall on the spectrum of politics. So there you go. Head on over to lpgeorgia.com. We also post events that we host there as well, such as that photo right there, Range Day, 2A Range Day with Edgar Mills over at Osprey Shooting Solutions. So go check that out. All right, y'all. Lots of controversy with this Donald Trump presidency. Lots of issues from a libertarian philosophy thus far. But one thing that we has aligned pretty well with what we want and our principles is the D.O.G.E initiative. Not that it's doing particularly well, but that is something that has aligned with our way of thinking pretty regularly. Just government efficiencies, cutting things, finding where the waste is, finding where the fraud is. And here in the state of Georgia, there are some efforts to get a D.O.G.E Georgia, D.O.G.E Atlanta, D.O.G.E DeKalb, D.O.G.E Fulton. And today we have with us one of the proponents of this, Mr. Scott Howard. So without further ado, let's go talk to him. All right, Scott Howard, welcome to the Free Georgia Podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So one thing that libertarians were super excited about with the Trump presidency is this implementation of D.O.G.E and the idea behind exposing waste, fraud, abuse, and that kind of thing. We've had a few wins. It seems to be stalling out a little bit at the federal level, but you're involved with D.O.G.E on the state level. Can you walk us through how that happened?
Yeah, it's very simple. We're not going to, first and foremost, we're never going to be able to duplicate what Elon Musk has done because he's basically been given access to the data, the computers, and the agencies to go do a deep dive. Okay. Mm-hmm. So in the state of Georgia, our politicians, that's never going to happen. They're never going to unopen the door. So my partner, Brant Meadows, and myself, we said, well, okay, so how can we fast forward this in Georgia? And then we started seeing, the movement on social media, especially X, and said, well, so why don't we turn people into their own investigators? Why don't we build this from the bottom up? And start with county, city, local officials and start putting pressure on them to open up their, like I live in Athens, Clark County. I mean, Clark County's budget is $412 million. Where's this money going? What is it doing? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, so we said, the politicians under the Gold Dome, do I trust them in the state of Georgia to do a deep dive into these agencies and really root out fraud, corruption, and different things like that? No, I don't. That's not going to happen. So we have to be doing it on a local level and put pressure on them. So we started doing the D.O.G.E Georgia. So we first started up a website called D.O.G.E.Georgia.org. And we started recruiting people and saying, okay, you live in Habersham County, so let's set you up an X account. Let's start getting you some tools and resources to get you online, be social media present, and then, talk about in these groups about how you can start asking for information, looking at their budgets, looking at the different departments, looking at where the money's going. For instance, I was just recently in a meeting earlier this week where the former mayor of Watkinsville, Georgia, said, I found out when I was in office, I had a credit card in my name and I didn't know anything about it. Somebody had took a credit card out in my name and was going to meetings and having lunch and putting it on my credit card. And he goes, it's that kind of stuff. We want to expose it for what it is because it's our tax dollars. It's our tax dollars. And so when we started this movement, we said, there's no limitations. Okay. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian, whatever affiliation you may or may not be involved into. It doesn't matter to us. All we care about is that you want to look and research fraud, waste, and abuse. And if you can put that out into the social sphere to make people change their habits and be better stewards of our tax dollars. One of the first articles that we did, we worked on this through Gronk AI. So we put one of the first big articles we put out was, what if Governor Kemp, instead of giving us this 0.1% rebate, where they lowered the state income tax from 5% to 4.9%, and we're going to get $500 a person. Woohoo! I'm excited. Thank you. That's not going to change anybody's lives. But we said, okay, with the amount of money that Governor Kemp has put in his war chest in the state between his rainy day fund and his overage fund, whatever, the number was like $4,128 per household if he took 20% of the reserve fund and gave it back. If he gave the tax money back. And that's when we started getting just this massive hit on X, with people saying, hey, what are you doing? What's going on here? What is this? And it just kind of exponentially grew and grew and grew. And, right now we've got about 123 chapters, as we call them, set up. We've got about right under 300 people out there that we've set up social media accounts with and helping them. And that we just started rolling out the second phase of what we're doing. We're doing tools and resources where we're using people inside our community to create videos to walk them through simple tasks. Because we have, you name the demographic of people who have signed up. We have kids that are 20 years old, and we have one couple that's in their 80s. So there's no one segment of population that has said, no, we're interested in this. So we're going to be doing these tools and resources where effectively doing like open records request. How do you do an effective open records request? How do you ask for a county budget without them charging you $250 or $300 or whatever? Because not every county posts it on their website. Some do, some don't. once you get that budget, how do you decode it?
Mhm.
What do you look for? How do you look for? And then, then taking that and start asking secondary questions to get a little bit deeper into this, and how the different departments are spending their money. Because most of the fraud in Georgia is these state P cards. Are you familiar with the purchase cards?
No, I'm not.
So state employees have credit cards. I was a state employee for almost 20 years. I had a state credit card. You have guidelines of what you can do, whatever. I mean, we had one professor at Georgia Tech who got fired because they bought interior design elements for their home on their state purchase card, drapes, blinds, couch, stuff like that. So, who's the gatekeeper? Who's really monitoring this stuff? And, from the state standpoint, I had somebody above me who was looking at my credit card transactions and saying, okay, what was this? What was that? But that was really the only gatekeeper I had. And if I had a dishonest person above me, whatever, we could have done a lot of things and created a lot of damage because my credit card in the state had like a $10,000 a month limit on it.
Yeah. Dadgum. That's interesting.
So,
I mean, yeah, giving somebody just an open-ended credit card and saying that your supervisor will, check on the transactions seems just like an invitation for abuse of that credit card.
well, that's how all of the technical college system of Georgia operates, and that's how the Board of Regents, as administrators at the University of Georgia, Georgia Tech, they all have state purchase cards.
Interesting. Huh. And what kind of, no, I don't know if you know this, but like what kind of limit on these credit cards is there, or is there one?
It varies. It depends on your job, how many, what your field you're in. I mean, some of these purchase cards, like for instance, like in the technical college system of Georgia, it teach like automotive repair or automotive collision or stuff like that. The department head at each school has one, and they buy, parts and equipment and stuff like that they need to run their programs. At the University of Georgia, it's a little bit different. Board of Regents, different rules. I mean, they buy office supplies on there. They buy, they put all their travel reimbursement on there.
Mm-hmm.
So, anytime I went to a conference or an event, I put all my meals on there. I put gas on there. All these things were part of that credit card. And I will say the people that were above me, they did an excellent job. And there was some checks and balances there. I can promise you I never purchased anything that I shouldn't have put on there, because the way I looked at it was tax dollar money. But there's literally probably, I don't know, probably 20,000+ employees in the state of Georgia who have state credit cards.
Wow. That's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
So you've been helping roll this out across the state.
Correct.
What's the reception been by people who were interested in this to begin with and wanted to be a part of it? Like, are you getting a lot of folks involved? We
are. So we've signed up close to about 300 people. We've got about 123 chapters set up, but that's a little misleading because, we've got people set up in Fulton County as City of Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Because, Fulton County is so huge. I mean, we've got, Fulton County is broken up into several different people in several different areas because, North Fulton is an entire, it's in itself. So you can't kind of put it all into one basket kind of thing. But we're growing, and we're growing every week. We're adding between 20 and 25 people every week. Wow. our website, we get our traffic on our website is about 400 hits a day.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So
Wow.
yeah.
What is so? On the other side of that, have you faced any opposition? Have people been upset with the things you're trying to do?
Yes, there has been. There has been some people upset. There's been a lot of just wild claims out there that, so first and foremost, the lieutenant governor is, tried to establish some new legislation, the red tape stuff. We're not involved with that. We're not a lot of people are saying, we were somehow involved with Burt Jones and Brian Kemp and whatever. That is false. That is absolutely false. We are not a group working for them. We don't have an agenda like that. So one of the things that we're very careful to make sure everybody understands, we don't really have rules for the people who are doing the Doge chapters. The only rule is that we're not going to fundraise. This is not about raising money.
Mm-hmm.
This is not about, donate to Doge Atlanta. We will, we're not into that. So there's no monetary gain for us. And the other thing is that we're not going to endorse candidates. What we will do is we will send a candidate a questionnaire that revolves all around fraud, waste, and abuse. And based on your answers, we will give you a score and give you a Doge score. Now, that is not an endorsement. It's just based off of your answers. If you are a Doge candidate who wants to work on this stuff, or whatever race that you particularly are in, and we don't really care. If somebody in the Democrat Party wants to fill out the questionnaire, somebody in the Libertarian Party or the Republican Party, we will Doge score everybody.
Right.
Because we're not kind of limiting. But the other rule we have is try to post about fraud, waste, and abuse, and try to keep your political stuff out of it, which, it does get into there. It does. And, we're not here to censor people and their content and what they want to post and different things. That's not our job, nor should it be. But we just encourage people to keep it within those parameters. Some people got upset because we were not going to Doge the Board of Regents or Doge, the Secretary of State's office, and we said, whoa, wait a second. That's not true. Do you want to Doge them? Because if you want to start a group to research the Board of Regents or the Secretary of State or the DOT or K1 through 12 or whatever, hey, we will help you set that up and let you go to town and Doge them.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no parameters there. We have no do not touch list.
Right.
So, we got some people upset with us because we made a post yesterday that the Georgia GOP party needs to be Doged. There are some questions that people have asked that I don't think they're getting their answers. And we said, well, okay, Doge them. And if the Republican Party chooses to do that, that's great. The same goes for the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wants to Doge Act Blue and the donations that they're getting in Georgia, the Smurfs, well, go for it. We will support you in that endeavor. We will not hold you back. We will not censor you. We will not disavow or what. It's all fair game because act red or turn red, whatever the GOP platform is. I mean, if somebody wants to go after that, I mean, if there's something to go after, we'll go after it. That's fine. And so we don't have a do not touch list. So, you can not like that or be upset about that. That's fine. I don't really care, because that's not our mission. Our
Right.
mission is very clear. If there's waste, fraud, and abuse in the state of Georgia, it's fair game.
So I used to live in Dunwoody. If I wanted to start a Doge Dunwoody, what would be my first step?
Well, what you would do simply is you go to our website and you fill out a contact form, or I'll be more than happy to give my cell phone number and Brand's cell phone number. Texas, you say Dunwoody. What we do is we will help generate a D.O.G.E Dunwoody logo for you. We'll provide you with onboarding directions on how to create your account and how to link all the different chapters and tag them, and then and get you access to the website, because right now we're working on member content. We're not quite there yet. We're less than 45 days into this endeavor. We're getting there rapidly, but and it's we're trying to do is build a community, and that's more what we're trying to do. And once the community is built, the community will help one another, because we have some people who are very good at social media and are very good at posting. I myself, I don't post a lot on social media. I am on X. I'm not on Facebook. I have been permanently banned from Facebook. I was told that I would never, ever, ever have an account with Facebook as long as I am breathing. That was the exact quote.
Jeez.
That was straight from Mark Zuckerberg.
I don't think you're the only one in that regard. I think that happened to quite a few people over the past 5 years.
Well, he long story short, I'm gonna make it short. My full-time day job is I'm a restaurateur. I own restaurants. Meta has a facility over in the social circle area. For some reason, he decided to do a large catering order through our company. And when it came in, the manager called me and everything. So I decided that I was going to be the delivery driver. So I hopped in our panel van that we make our delivery ins with our logos on it and stuff. And I proceeded to wheel everything in, and I proceeded to hand the manager who ordered it a bill for $1 million. And I said, that's what Mark Zuckerberg owes every single person in the state of Georgia for what they did in the 2020 election.
Wow. You've got some stones, man. That's awesome.
I don't care. I mean, and I've done similar things to Brian Kemp. So my home is not far from the Kemp farm where he lives when he's not whatever. So I actually taped a copy of 2,000 Mules to his mailbox.
Yeah, you've got some guts, Scott.
I don't care. I don't care. I mean, I really, truly, I lost that filter. And by the way, for full disclosure to your libertarian friends, I have not been a member of the Georgia Republican Party since 2018.
Okay.
I walked away.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of races that are on the GOP side that I didn't vote for either Republican or Democrat because, quite frankly, I'm not gonna waste my vote. I'm not gonna. Two bad choices don't equal a right. So I mean, like when Brian Kemp ran the last time, I think I wrote in Satan
Well, I think when Brian Kemp ran the last time, our friend of the show, friend of the party, Shane Hazel was
Shane, yes. Like Shane.
Yeah, love Shane. And he ran as a Republican in a couple races prior to that, and then saw the inside, saw the seedy underbelly of the GOP here in Georgia, and was like, I can't do this again, and decided to come over here.
Well, in 2018, I decided to primary my state senator, who, quite frankly, and I've said this to his face in large crowds, whatever, he's a pedophile.
Jeez.
Okay. The guy is a disgusting pig. I mean, just an absolute disgusting pig. They sent mailers out to every member of my church alleging that I was having an affair with a secretary.
Jeez.
They're scumbags. So why would I want to be a member of that party?
Yeah. Why would you be?
Well, and so, you look at like State Senator Matt Brask, who is a Republican. He owns this company over in Marietta, and all they do is mail hit piece mailers on anybody who primaries an elected official in the House or the Senate.
Wow.
So it's kind of they feed themselves, they protect themselves, they've got their little world that they've got to protect. I mean, all of these guys, like my state senator, I've dozed his expense reports, his travel logs that he has reimbursed himself for. He could have took his Volkswagen, whatever he drives, and drive around the world twice a year for his reimbursements.
Jeez. He's just spending.
Yeah. So, and so, all right. So, and the other thing that we've been actively monitoring, are you familiar with the Georgia First PAC?
Yes.
Well, do you know how much money Brian Kemp spent this last election to save his squishy rhino weak House and Senate members?
I do not.
$47 million.
Good Lord.
$47 million, and 30 something of that million went to his former chief of staff, who runs a media company up in Dawsonville, Georgia now.
Wow.
So
wow.
he's buying mailers, radio ads, and different, local TV stuff for, like, for instance, we were monitoring Scott Hilton, a race up in North Gwinnett. I mean, Scott Hilton was underwater in polling up until the last 3 days, where he all of a sudden won by 8 points.
Jeez.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Senator Sean Still over in the west, the East Forsyth and that area, he got in a battle with a guy who was self-funding himself, who was an Indian gentleman who ran just this incredible race. I mean, the guy spent about $1 million against Sean Still, and Sean Still was basically neck and neck with him. And then all of a sudden, at the last minute, that 11 o'clock at night, Sean Still went from 1,000 down to 12,000 up.
Wow.
So, but we go after, we look at this stuff. I mean, we feel that there's some, D.O.G.E, Georgia believes wholeheartedly that the Secretary of State's got some problems that need to be answered. As a matter of fact, me and my partner currently have a lawsuit against the Secretary of State's office. We have about 1,000 open records requests that they don't even acknowledge or refuse to answer.
Of course they don't.
Yeah. We had one open records request that we got back from them. They asked for $7,000 to fulfill it.
What?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
So we asked for, so every county gets a thumb drive, okay,
Mm-hmm.
with the data that is plugged into the mainframe computer at the central election office in every county. Okay, that is all a metadata file. We
Mm-hmm.
asked for that metadata file to compare it to the voter rolls, and
Yeah.
they said it would be, they wanted $7,000 for that. So literally all they had to do was download it on a hard drive and mail it, and we offered to pay for the hard drive.
Yeah. That would not take very long, and that would not be very expensive.
It'd take about 8 minutes to download it. About 8 minutes is what we, but yeah, I mean, so I mean, like for instance, I'll give you another good Brad Raffensperger one. So we did an open records request for Brad Raffensperger, and this is why we're doing Doge. It all parallels.
Mm-hmm.
So we asked for his travel records for the days prior to and after the inauguration this last January.
Yeah.
We even put in our open records request the photograph of him at the ball in DC with his wife, and a link to the article written in this magazine talking about him being there and interviewing him. But yet they said they have no knowledge or records of him being in DC.
Jeez. I just don't understand that. That is, you can show them that they're lying and they still do it. That, I don't even know how you defeat that, especially if no one buys it.
No, I don't. We don't buy it. Well, and so we've also doged Fannie Willis.
Yeah.
So we've asked for her travel records as well. We've asked for her calendar. We gave a list of all of her employees and asked for their travel logs. But you know what agency is the Secretary of State's office is the worst. So it got so bad with them that we started going down to the Secretary of State's office once a week and start hand delivering our open records request. And they still don't answer them.
Well, Scott, man, I appreciate what y'all are doing. I don't think there's been like a movement like this in a very long time where citizens can actually just get on a website and start trying to keep their representatives accountable, or just investigate into this kind of thing on their own without, obviously there's going to be roadblocks, but at least y'all are giving them a toolkit and some support to help them do so. I think it's incredibly impressive and 100% needed. And, you may not have any actual authority, but, the public opinion can change a lot. Can change a lot of things. If you put enough pressure on somebody, they're gonna change.
So you remember a couple, I guess it was a week or two ago, Marjorie Taylor Greene had a town hall, the one where everybody got, dragged out and everything. There was a Doge question that somebody asked her.
Really?
And she actually, yes. And I'll send you the video clip. It's great. She actually gave us a shout out.
All right.
And so 3 days after that, we just got peppered. We just got peppered with it, with requests and everything. But what is the fascinating thing about this is that we are getting requests. So far, hopefully, Brant, forgive me if I get this wrong. We've been contacted by people in Indiana, Illinois, New York, Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, Arkansas. But the group that has by far got their act together and has done an amazing job in a relatively short period of time is Alaska. Oh my God. It's absolutely phenomenal what they have done. They've already put together an executive board. I mean, they have found funding. They have done all this different stuff. Public ran. And it's the wildest thing I've ever seen. And it's impressive. It's incredibly, I mean, we have not even done a fraction of what they've done. I think it's impressive what they've done. You know, and then Texas just passed legislation this week for Doge.
All right.
Hey, you want to say hey?
Hey, buddy.
She's my Doge dog.
Nice. Nice.
She's my Doge puppy. But yeah. So you know, this is a movement that we're trying to grow, and not just Georgia. It needs to grow everywhere. And you know, we may or may not have done things 100% correct. I'm going to take her outside with me, you know, but we're learning and we're moving towards getting better. We're working on making our organization better. We're working with getting people who are experts in certain areas to help us, guide us. And that's where we're very open and honest that, you know, all is welcome. Everybody is welcome. And if you have something that is, if you're an accountant or you're a whatever, and you want to get involved and help us, we'll take you with open arms.
Well, that was going to be my next question to round up the episode. How do people get in contact with you, and how do people sign up and start a dojo of their own?
The website is by far the best way to do it.
All right. And that is D.O.G.E.Georgia.org.
Yep. And we have great people. Everybody is a volunteer. Everybody is volunteering. Nobody's being paid. This is all grassroots. You know, you were saying this movement. I mean, you know, I kind of could equate it to the Tea Party movement back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
But you know, but they were. It's a little bit different in the fact that, you know, we're not in the business to be a political machine, nor do we want to be a political machine. So I think that's a very distinct difference between the two. You know, and we just want to hold our elected officials accountable. Doesn't matter if you're the city councilman, the mayor, the police chief, your state senator, your house rep, our governor, or any other executive elected member of Georgia. It's all fair game. And it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican or an independent. It doesn't matter.
Heck yeah. Well, man, I appreciate what you're doing, and I hope it continues to go well. And, you know, if you want to come back on in a few months and give us a progress update and tell us where you're at then, we'd love to see you.
Well, we're going to have a booth at the Georgia Republican Convention up in Rome. You know, we understood that the Libertarian Party had theirs, and we had just kind of gotten started when that happened. We just couldn't make it down there. It just wasn't. But we plan on being there next year and any other year that you graciously invite us again. You know, and if the Democrats want to invite us, we will come there.
Heck yeah.
I mean, you know, we have no, so go to the website, fill out the contact form. Paul, Bonnie, Brant, myself, somebody will reach out to you and we will get you set up. And, you know, and then at that point, you know, for the next 60 days, we're working on building tools and resources for people to help people, guide them through how to be effective. And, hey, I honestly admit, I'm not the best social media poster, so I could use a lot of lessons in social media, because I'm your two thumbs kind of social media guy, and I don't have a big following on X by any. I mean, I might have 100 followers. I go there really just to kind of get a pulse of what's going on and what people are talking about.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good resources on there, but there's also some garbage. It's just, it's however you see it.
I get it. Well, man, Scott, I appreciate it. Everybody out there, go to DOGEgeorgia.org. Sign up if you want to. Check out what they're doing. And yeah, Scott, we'll have you on in a few months to get an update.
Well, thank you so much for having us, and we do appreciate you giving us this platform to communicate to people. And happy Dogen.
Happy Dogen. All right, y'all. Make sure to tune in next week for more Free Georgia podcast. We'll see you then. Peace.
Guys.